Alright, today we're going to talk about how to burn off belly fat as fast as possible, and this video is for beginners. I'm going to show you the basics of how to do it, but there are some very important details that you need to know. There are actually 5 vital and practical tips that you won't find in books, and I've discovered these just through experience working with so many people for so many years. So I'm going to break it down and make it very, very simple because so many people get overwhelmed with all the details of how to do keto. It's overcomplicated, and then some people just give up. So let me show you the 5 most important things to focus on, so you can be very successful right from the beginning and not end up where a lot of people do, where they get to a plateau and just can't seem to get past a certain point. It's always very important to learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to make them. In this video, I just want to give you the most important things. You're going to have other questions. Now, what is the goal of getting on the ketogenic diet? The goal is to bring your insulin levels as low as possible. If your insulin levels are low, you have maximum fat burning, and you have maximum ketosis. Ketosis is a state of producing ketones, which are the byproduct of fat burning. The more ketones you generate, the more fat you're going to burn, and the faster you're going to lose your midsection. At the very top level of keto, we have these macros: carbohydrates, protein, and fat. You want to keep your carbs between 30 and 50 grams, but I'm going to tell you to keep them below 20 grams or less, especially if you want to speed things up. As for protein, you want to keep that between 3 to 6 ounces of protein per meal, but that varies depending on your size, metabolism, age, and how many meals you're consuming. If you're just doing 1 meal a day, obviously, you're going to be consuming more protein. If you're a bodybuilder or you're exercising a lot, you're going to eat a little bit more. But for the average person, consume the amount of protein per meal that's the size of the palm of your hand. Now, as far as fat goes, you're going to be consuming 75% of your calories. So, for this video, I'm not going to get into the complexities of measuring different grams to get your macros. When I explain the tips, you'll understand how much fat you need. Alright, tip number 1. Instead of counting your grams of carbs, it's going to be much easier to consume certain carbs that you don't have to count. And I'm talking about leafy green vegetables, salads, because this is mostly fiber, and the insulin response is almost zero because fiber is the only carbohydrate that does not affect insulin. So when we're talking about salad, we don't have to count carbohydrates. In fact, I want you to consume a larger amount of salad. I want you to consume at least 7 cups of salad per day. It's not hard to do that. And one little tip on this point with salad to make it easier to consume is we use a salad cutter. So we cut the salad down, and it just makes it even smaller and easier to consume. So instead of trying to be overwhelmed with all these carbs, just use vegetable carbohydrates, like salad, and don't even worry about counting your carbs. You could put other things on it as well, like feta cheese. Definitely put olive oil or vinaigrette, and just make sure your salad dressing has, like, 1 or less carbs. There are so many salad dressings out now that are virtually carb-free, but there are also many other salad dressings loaded with sugar that could be a hidden problem. Now, why do we want to consume all this salad? Well, keto is all about being low carb, right? Keto doesn't emphasize adding more nutrients. The type of keto that I always recommend is the healthy version of ketosis. So we're not only reducing insulin, we're enhancing nutrients. You can actually be healthier at the end of the day. There are huge benefits of lowering your carb, but there are also huge benefits of having nutrient-dense foods. The thing that salad has is a lot of potassium, magnesium, and vitamin C, in addition to other vitamins like vitamin K1 and folic acid. It also has a lot of phytonutrients, which are those things that go beyond just the normal vitamins, minerals, and trace minerals. Consuming a large amount of salad on a keto plan will give you these nutrients to prevent cramps in your calves. It can help prevent keto fatigue, keto flu, and it'll improve a condition called insulin resistance. It will help lower insulin even more, and it'll give you energy. As a side note, an additional tip I always recommend is to do your salad first. If you do your salad first, you won't overeat your protein. If you eat your protein first and then your salad, you may find that you can't consume that much salad after you eat the protein. If you're having a hard time with doing that much salad, do what you can, and you can also enhance things with a good electrolyte powder. Now, I'm not biased towards my own electrolyte powder, but I will say that it is the highest quality electrolyte on the market. Tip number 1 is to consume the salad at the beginning part of your meal. Alright, tip number 2 is about protein. There are a couple of practical things about protein you need to know. First of all, maybe you want to start with a protein size the palm of your hand. If you're a bigger or younger person, have more, and if you're an older person with a slower metabolism, have a little bit less. If you have too much protein, then you're gonna feel sluggish, and that can slow down your ketosis as well. The same goes for not enough protein. You can feel too tired because your body needs a certain amount of protein. The key with protein is not to do low-fat protein. Find a protein that has the most fat. Normally, fat comes with protein. So if you're going to do a hamburger, which I actually eat a lot of, get the fattiest hamburger. If you're going to do fish, don't get the leanest fish. Do salmon or even sardines. Both of them are high in fat, and that's going to be much better than the lean protein. If you're going to do chicken, don't just do the skinless chicken breasts. Do the parts of the chicken that have the skin and the fat. Why is that? Because when you consume lean protein, you stimulate insulin a little bit more than if it was fattier protein. In fact, the thing that stimulates insulin at a very high level is whey protein because there's hardly any fat in the now. If you're new to keto and just starting out, it's very important to increase the amount of fat at each meal. That could mean consuming more nuts. I like pecans, but you can try other types of nuts as well. You can also have macadamia nuts, olives, avocado, and more olive oil on your salad. You can have MCT oil too. But the question is, if you're eating all this fat, is it going to slow down weight loss? The answer is yes, because the initial goal of the ketogenic plan is not necessarily to jump right into weight loss. If you've checked out, please check back in right now and pay attention to the next thing I'm going to tell you. It is crucial to also do intermittent fasting with healthy keto. Why? Well, if you were to check your ketones, your blood ketones, the scale goes up from 0 all the way up to around 7, sometimes a little bit higher. But there's a scale, right? If you do just keto without intermittent fasting, chances are you won't get above 1 to maybe 3. Your level of ketones determines how deep your fat burning is. The higher the ketones, the more ketosis you're in, and the lower the scale, the less you're in ketosis. If you want to get your numbers up to 4 or 5, you need to add in intermittent fasting and potentially even exercise. But we're not going to talk about exercise right now. We just want to talk about intermittent fasting. The combination of low carb and intermittent fasting is really powerful. If you want fast results, getting rid of your belly fat, and to do that very easily, we don't want you to have an appetite. We don't want you to be hungry all the time, and we don't want you to have cravings. The first strategy or tip to do this is to add more fat to your meals. That way, you can go longer without eating and start your intermittent fasting pattern. The first goal is not to eat breakfast and to go as long as possible without eating. Then, have your first meal at around 12 and your second meal at 6. Over time, You can squish these two meals closer and closer until some people eliminate lunch altogether and just do dinner. This is called one meal a day. When you eat this fat at the meal, you're going to be very satisfied, and within 2 to 3 days, you won't be hungry at all. You'll lose your appetite because you're able to fast longer and be more in ketosis. In other words, your body will start burning your own fat, which is a new concept for a lot of people. But here is the next point. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Many people mess this up because they're doing it robotically. They're told how many meals they need to have per day, and they're doing low carb, but they are not losing weight because they're eating when they are not even hungry. It's a huge mistake. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Why would you want to screw up your fat party? You've finally lowered your carbs, and your body is tapping into your fat. It's getting rid of the fat on your liver, midsection, and your appetite is gone because you're eating when you're not hungry. Then you eat a meal, and you're going to be hungry a little bit later because every time you eat, you pop yourself out of ketosis, regardless of what you eat. Eating triggers insulin and high insulin. So, to summarize, if you're new to keto, it's important to increase the amount of fat in each meal, and you can do this by consuming more nuts like pecans, macadamia nuts, olives, and avocado. However, it's important to note that consuming too much fat can slow down weight loss. That's why it's crucial to incorporate intermittent fasting with a healthy keto diet. Intermittent fasting can help you get into deeper ketosis and burn more fat. The combination of low carb and intermittent fasting is powerful, and it can help you achieve fast results and get rid of belly fat. The first step is to add more fat to your meals so that you can go longer without eating. The ultimate goal is to fast for as long as possible and have your first meal at noon and your second meal at 6 p.m. It's also essential to listen to your body and eat only when you're hungry. Eating when you're not hungry can pop you out of ketosis and slow down your weight loss progress. So, as soon as your hunger goes away, start cutting down on the fat in your meals, especially if you have a slow metabolism. This way, your body will start burning its own fat instead of dietary fat. In conclusion, combining a healthy keto diet with intermittent fasting can help you achieve your weight loss goals faster. It's essential to pay attention to your body, eat only when you're hungry, and gradually decrease the fat in your meals as your body adapts to burning its own fat. What we're trying to do is get you to burn off your own belly fat, so you don't want to go crazy with too much fat while you're in the middle of this plan. In the very beginning part of ketosis, you want to increase fat, and at the very end of this cycle, when you reach your goal, that's when we also want to increase your fat, but not in the middle of this program where you're just fat burning, and you've lost your appetite, and you're not craving everything. You don't have to add a lot of fat. You just want to have the fat that normally comes with the protein. Now, you definitely don't want to go low fat, but just don't start adding all this additional fat unless you have a high metabolism. When you're doing intermittent fasting or when you're doing ketosis, it's very important to include all the nutrients that you need to prevent nutritional deficiencies because you're no longer going to be doing 3 meals and snacks. And so if you're going to do 2 meals or 1 meal, it's a little more difficult to get your nutrients. And the fact that you're in ketosis means that you're going to be burning up different nutrients. The requirements for certain nutrients are going to be higher than they were before. So you're going to need more B vitamins, more electrolytes. One of the good sources of B vitamins is nutritional yeast, and I'm not telling you need to consume my nutritional yeast. You can do any type of nutritional yeast, just make sure it's not fortified with synthetic vitamins. But B vitamins are very, very important. Electrolytes are very important, and sea salt is very, very important. If you're not consuming extra sea salt, what's going to happen is you're going to feel weak. Make a mental note of that and start adding more sea salt to your diet. Now, if you're consuming a large salad at that meal, the need for electrolytes will not be as great because you're going to be getting potassium and magnesium and other minerals as well. Alright, number 5, we want to make this a lifestyle change. We want this to be enjoyable. The fact that your cognitive function is going to improve, your energy is going to improve, your mood is going to improve, and your belly is going to shrink is all going to make you happier. You're going to feel better, but a lot of people miss all these kind of pleasure foods. And so there are a couple of things that I include after a meal that you might want to also include. One is low-carb chocolate. You can do Lily's chocolate, but there are a lot of other chocolate products that you can consume that have low carbs. But I tend to do a little chocolate after my first meal. Not a whole bar, I might have half a bar, and it's actually quite pleasurable. By following 5 basic steps, you can enjoy a healthier version of dessert. These steps yield noticeable results, but you may still have questions. To avoid getting overwhelmed, it's best to keep things simple and just jump in without needing to learn every detail. If you have questions, you can achieve your weight loss goals. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. Thank you for watching.